Good evening, watchers, and welcome to another movie review today. And actually, it's not a movie review. It's like it's a review, but it's not a movie. It kind of is, and it's kind of not. It's more of a documentary review, and it's the review of I Believe in Miracles. I've just finished watching this. Actually, I finished watching it about half an hour ago. I've really enjoyed it, by the way, because I'm a Forest fan. I love Nottingham Forest is my favourite team. Always Wolver. I've been a Forest fan for quite a while now. I used to support Liverpool at the beginning when I was younger. Then I thought to myself, why do I support Liverpool again? No idea. Anyway, so yeah, it's I Believe in Miracles about the cup, the European Cup winning side of the 70s, 79 and 70 and 1980. But yeah, really good. It's more of a documentary, but it's still kind of a film documentary. And yeah, this is fantastic. It's got like old matches that it shows from the late 70s of, Forest journey on to winning the European Cup. Now Brian Clough, you see characters like Brian Clough, and Peter Taylor, who, but yeah, you see those kind of characters in the film, and it's just the way that it's just fantastic. You see interviews with Peter Shilton, Viv Anderson, if I get all the names right. You see some clips of Brian Clough and stuff, talking and stuff like that. He was just charismatic. Brian Clough was charismatic as hell, really charismatic character. He's probably the greatest characters in the game. To me, no one even comes close. Nobody comes close to Brian Clough, apart from Brian Clough. But yeah, really freaking interesting. It's like interviews with Viv Anderson of the Archie Gemmill, Peter Shilton, Larry Lloyd, Ian Bowyer, Kenneth Burns. He was a pretty tough character. He was. Seeing fights and stuff. He was a hard man. He was like the hard man of the Forest. I suppose in a way, he's like the Roy Keane of that year. Of the he was just a tough player. He was a great player though. A lot of players I can mention and other characters that played for Forest too. And he was part of the European side. So yeah, I remember it showed. It showed the part of the media where the media is like saying that the Forest bubble is going to burst and stuff like that. Of course, it kind of leaves a egg on their face afterwards, because after what happened, Forest winning the European Cup not once but twice. So yeah, fantastic documentary movie. Probably one of the best I've seen. I mean, I've seen I've seen a few good documentaries, but this was probably the best one I've seen ever. I love it's actually, you think a small side like Forest went up like that, I like the part where they're on the bus, right? They're on the bus and they're celebrating, right, with the European Cup, and I like the fact that the fans are outside and they're driving down on the bus and all the fans in, and it's fun. In this film, they tell a few good stories about Brian Clough and things that he did and stuff like that to, in a way, motivate the players and make it like easier for the players sometimes, less stressful. Put less stress on that player. What the things that he did, without realising it. So yeah, some great moments in this that made me laugh. The washer storyline was very funny. There's a story about a washer that was a very funny one. I did like that one. I did like the. But yeah, the part where they celebrate on the bus, that's pretty cool seeing that, because that's where I sometimes go down when I go into town. Sometimes I go into town and it's like I go to that same place, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's close to where I go anyway. So yeah, but yeah, it would have been fantastic. I must have been celebrating. Of course, I'd have been pretty young when they celebrated. So yeah, of course, still in nappies, of course. So yeah. So yeah, fantastic film documentary. Like I said, it's got some great music in it too. I love the I Believe in Miracles, and it's got some great music in this. Brian Clough, like I said, is charismatic. He's funny. Stuff that he did, the thing about Brian Clough, he was arrogant, but he had the right to be arrogant, because he was, he knew what he was doing, did it his own way, and he did it in a way that not many managers have done it since. You know, now it's all PC. Now people can't say this, people can't say that. Brian Clough didn't give a monkeys. He kind of like, he actually called one of his players fat, you know, as a fat guy on the bit. You wouldn't even see that now. Players, you know, people get offended by anything these days. But Brian Clough, he was just like outspoken. He was honest, and you know, and that's what made him such a great character. Now it's just like, oh damn, he said that. Shouldn't have said that. Oh damn, I'm offended by it. But Brian Clough was just, you know, he was a man's man. I don't think about football in the 70s, alright. Now it's just a bunch of prima donnas. That's what I'm calling prima. Now they just think, oh look, I've got a lot of money. Stuff like, look, I've got a cool watch. You know, I get thousands of millions of pounds every week just to kicking the ball around the pitch. Now in these days, I think a player was paid, I can't remember, I don't know, they weren't paid as much as they are now, but in the 70s, football was a man's game. When you see the old games in those days, like the muddy pitches and stuff like that, and you think, now that was football. You know, tackles going in, larger than life characters. Brian Clough, I mean, Forest team in the 70s were like the best team, you know, ever, you know, I think they were. And I was watching and think, why? Why is football different now than it was then? It's like, I don't think it's better than it was. I don't think it's better now than it was then, because then you had teams that actually played for the team, you know. Passion, you know. Like, actually, I noticed another thing I noticed about Forest in the 70s, the fact there was like a family. They seemed like a family, close, real close team, like a close family, just as much as. Actually, it seemed like much closer to a family than a actually real family. The way they. Because Brian Clough was kind of a family man, you know. I remember Roy Keane was asked what was the best manager he worked under, and he said Brian Clough, because Alex Ferguson was business first, but with Brian Clough he was more family first than business, you know. So yeah, and I agree with that, because when you see Brian Clough, he just seemed very close to his players, you know. But some managers now are just like, get out of the pitch and just play, you know. But another thing about Brian Clough, he kind of like, there's one part where one of the guys were like talking about him, and said that he didn't really have a tactic sometimes. He just went out and just, you know, kicked. So he didn't really have a plan. He just like go out and play and stuff like that. That's the impression you get from the guy, from the man, from the man. So yeah, it's interesting the way football now has changed, evolved, and it's become more of a rich man's sport than a man's sport, you know. But yeah, but when you watch this, you think how different and better it was in the 70s or 80s, you know. So yeah, of course I like the music, and I love the old matches it shows, and a lot of good humour and a bit of swearing too at the same time. But yeah, fantastic stuff. I hope they make a film on this one day. A proper, you know, like a Damn United, right? But the same people who did that. I heard that they was going to do that. Wanted to do that with what's his name? The guy who played Brian Clough in that movie. I hope that he wanted to do that, but they haven't. You know, they might do one day. Who knows? I might see a Nottingham Forest movie one day. I want to see that one day. I think it'll be a big hit. But yeah, great, interesting movie, a documentary movie, really interesting. So yeah, like I said, Brian Clough and Peter Taylor, they work together brilliant now. You know, geniuses both of them were. Actually, Peter Taylor died in 1990. So of course, I think those two had a falling out. Didn't really say in this documentary, but I think those two had a falling out before. And then he died, and Brian Clough has to regret, you know, have fallen out with him. So yeah, and then Brian Clough died in 2004. Sad really, because Brian Clough was fantastic. He seemed like he knew his knowledge of football. He really knew his knowledge of football. He made it kind of simplistic. Get on the pitch, kick the ball, and score a goal. Now it's like you've got to tactics and stuff like that. Got to get better players. You know, more money on just. Now it's just like buying players and more money for a player. It's like, let's get a really expensive player, pay him a lot of money, and hopefully he plays well for the team. These days, I mean, these days it was just like play the game and just play well, and you know, if you play well, that's it. You know, you're a good player. So I don't know. It's just yeah, it's an interesting movie. I really enjoyed it. And there's a guy called Trevor Francis. He played for Forest. He was like the first £1 million player. So yeah, so Forest did break a few records in those days. Smallest club to win. No, actually, I think there was a third European Cup to win the first British club to win the European Cup, was it? I think it was. So yeah, I think that was Man United and Liverpool. I think it was. Yeah. So yeah. Fantastic. This was really interesting. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's 1 hour 44 minutes. So yeah, it's a really interesting mover. The first actually it shows you more of the first how they won the first European Cup. Then the last bit is like where it kind of does that quicker. The last when they won the second European Cup. So yeah, but still I like the way they did that. It's really well done. Brian Clough was fantastic. Full star. I love the guy to bits. All big head. So yeah, fantastic, interesting, and I'll give this a 9. Okay, right. Let's just right. So Young Sunshine. Right, the rate I'm going to give this documentary movie, I Believe in Miracles, really good, really enjoyed it. Is a solid red. I give it a 9 out of 10 for a really interesting movie. Really enjoyed it. And Brian Clough is fantastic. I shouldn't really give it a 10 out of 10 because it's Forest, but I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I liked it still. It's still an excellent rating for me for a documentary. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for I Believe in Miracles. Really excellent documentary movie. Can't fault it. And I can't fault the team, man. I was watching and thinking, oh, what a fantastic team Forest were in those days. Honest to God, they were like fantastic. Tough as nails. Full of character too. That's another thing. Full of characters. Oh my god, that old Forest shirt, have that spirit of Forest on me. Be great. But yeah, it was just great seeing Nottingham in the 70s. It was fantastic. I was like, oh my god, that's where I used to walk around. Oh, yeah, it's great. My god, it's fantastic. Town, it shows you town. Even I think it shows you Victoria Centre inside there. So was it Gordon Marsh? No. So yeah. But anyway, fantastic documentary. 9 out of 10 for I Believe in Miracles. Fantastic. If you're a football fan, if you support Liverpool, Man United, Derby character, you'll still like this. It's really good. So yeah, that was a funny thing. That the Derby got rid of him, right? And then Forest got and they won the European Cup twice. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for I Believe in Miracles. Fantastic, awesome, all big head, absolute legend. So yeah. Alright, before I go off, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, and have a nice evening. And do you mean miracles? Because I do. Since I watched that movie, I believe in miracles. I believe in miracles, left, right, and centre right now, all up and down, all over. So yeah. Have a nice evening. Take care, and I'll make it go. I'm going to watch some TV for Blu-ray for a bit. So have a nice evening. Take care and enjoy the I Believe in Miracles movie review. Come on, you Reds. See ya. Have a nice evening.